अभी चल रही है कनाडा में लाइफ. There are ups and downs. Starting from scratch in a new country can be hard, but that's why we came out of our comfort zone, right?
What is the importance of a good teacher in your life?
I feel like there's YouTube, there's a lot of resources where you can learn things from trial and error. We should consider ourselves lucky that we have that, but having a mentor speeds up your process like anything. If your mentor has a 30-year experience and you have a 5-year experience, when you go to that mentor and if they are selflessly teaching you everything they know, then you will have at least 35 years of experience. Sometimes people end up in positions of power with less skills than people who work for them. In Bollywood, no one wants you to succeed, not at the expense of you being more successful than them. So I was struggling and then I get a call from an unknown number. They're like, oh, we're from Nexa Music. We had like a person drop out of the finales and we want you to sign your song. When I was just about to lose faith, I got a sign from the universe that, there are better things on the way.
So, कैसा जा रहा है time Canada में? How's everything going in Canada?
So I just graduated last month. I came here as a student. So
when did you come?
I came in September 2022, like end of August.
Mhm.
So finishing almost 2 years. It's the first chapter is finished, student life. Stepping into like the work permit life. फिर आगे देखते हैं how it goes.
That's great. So you worked as a music engineer, sound engineer in India, right?
In India, I did a lot more. Let me start from how I got into all of this.
Sure.
So I started as a rapper. Like I was never like I have always had a thing for music growing up, but I never had a plan that I'll just get into music and do it. But long story short, accidentally I met someone. We made a few songs together. It was very bad music, very cringe-worthy music back then, but people liked it back then because we were still in high school. So there's this, element of like excitement when you're in school and you start doing music. So people, even if it's bad music, are like, oh, my friend does music, right? So that's how the journey started. Started as a rapper, then slowly got into music production and sound engineering. I don't know if you know of him. There's my mentor. His name is Singh. He's pretty big in the Punjabi industry, one of the biggest producers. So I learned mixing and mastering, sound engineering, production, and everything.
Any famous works by him?
Famous works by him. Punjabi music, I listen to less Punjabi music, but I know like अभी उनका एक गाना आया था, नाम नहीं याद मेरे को, but a few songs are like very big, like 600, 700 million. And I think
600 million.
Yes, yes. मन की तो अलग क्या उनका गाना था जो बहुत वायरल हुआ था. Can't think of it right now. If I think of it, I'll tell you. But like, he's one of the biggest producers. If you look up his name, Singh. So it's Mix Singh, like mixing.
Okay.
Mixing. So
So you both did together starting.
Yeah. So he was my mentor. Of course, there was a heavy fees to learn from him. But after that, he moved to Punjab and he is doing pretty well for himself. Yeah. Even like I'm in radio, so radio broadcasting. So I was at a radio station last week, and the technical producer told me that he has played some of his songs on live air in Canada. In Canada. But anyway, so as a rapper, I got into production and sound engineering, set up a studio, like a smaller studio initially. Started working for Bollywood as a ghost producer and engineer. And then I realized that's not my cup of tea, so drifted away from it slowly. And I've been doing my own thing. I started a indie record label also in India. Did pretty well for some artists we worked with. Then I moved to Mumbai to study vocal performance at Nashi Munji School of Music. So they started a new music school. So I learned I was majoring in vocals, but then the lockdown happened. And for me, if I'm enrolled in a performance course where I'm majoring in vocal performance, and our literally assignments are like jamming with the band and performing for our, entire school on the end of the month. It didn't make sense to me to do that online. Like how am I supposed to jam with the band on Zoom?
Of course.
Does not work. So I just decided that, It's the lockdown, so I dropped out, and then during the lockdown, I decided to move here. I've been doing music for like better half of the last decade, so I don't want to study music anymore. Like in terms of like production and engineering and all of that stuff, because I know like if it's a school, they need to go with like from the beginning, from the basics.
Yeah.
And I thought I'll be wasting my money and time, so I've also been invested in radio a little bit, so I studied radio broadcasting. Just graduated, so अभी चल रही है कनाडा में लाइफ ठीक चल रही है मतलब there are ups and downs. It's starting from scratch in a new country can be hard, but that's why we came out of our comfort zone, right? If we wanted a comfortable life, तो इंडिया में थी ना.
It's a very different field. I would say it's a very unique field. Sound engineering, working on vocals. What was some lessons that you learned while you were learning vocals? What was something that you learned that a normal person feels like this is different? It's a whole new thing.
As an engineer or as a singer?
Tell me about both.
So, as an engineer, I would say a lot of artists that I've been working with more so recently, a lot of rappers I've been working with as an engineer in Canada. I've realized that a lot of artists don't realize the potential of their voice if it's given to a good mixing and mastering engineer. Because if you take a raw picture, let me draw you an analogy where like, if it's a raw picture, editing makes night and day difference. So, or like for women, let's say, don't cancel me on this, but a lot of women who know makeup really well can end up looking like 10 years younger. So it's the same way like with vocals, like you can be a really good singer, but if you understand how sound engineering works, it can make you sound better. And it's inevitable, like any song you hear is been engineered, but depends. The commercial songs are engineered by the best and best of engineers, and like as your budget goes down, so does the quality. So I feel like a lot of artists don't understand the potential of their voice. That is one thing I've understood. Because you can be a very good musician, but like being a session artist, being a musician, being a studio artist and releasing music and creating music is a whole different ball game altogether. It's a different process. So you need a lot of artists who learn music the traditional way should also do some research and like, if not themselves, hire producers and engineers to take their music to the next level. And this is as an engineer, I would say. As an artist, I would say I've been through a few vocal coaches. Some would be good for your technique, and some would also, like I had a vocal coach. She's very respected in India. Now she's to the point where like she teaches other vocal coaches. I had her briefly when I was in music school. Her name is Vasundhara V. She will get into the psychology of singing instead of just the anatomy. Like she would be like, okay, now think of this and then sing that note. Think of the color blue and then you would sing it and you're like, how did that work, bro? How did that work? She is like.
So, does it make any difference?
Yes, it does. Because you need to realize that your instrument as a singer is your voice. And it's a biological instrument. So, how your brain is thinking, because your brain controls everything. So like, if you are nervous, you're more likely to choke up because your brain is releasing endorphins and like thinking that, you know, it's flight and fright. So let me tense up all the muscles. But if you're more relaxed, you're more calm. It's like a feedback loop in a way that there are two types of signals. Don't quote me on this. I don't remember the exact terminology, but like there's the vagus nerve in your body, and then there's like the signals that your brain is sending to your body, and then there are signals that your body is sending to your brain. So, for example, if you're nervous about a performance and you're overthinking that, oh, I'm gonna mess up. So your brain starts sending signals to your body, which is telling it to tense up. Now your body is tense up, your muscles are tensed up. So your body is sending signals back to your brain saying that, oh, my muscles are tense. But it creates a feedback loop. Your body will start getting more and more stiff.
Does it work the same way with public speaking as well?
I think
Maybe
anything.
people are nervous in public speaking and all this thing, yeah?
I feel like it works on everything in life. Being positive. One thing I learned from my other mentor, who I learned music production and sound engineering from, was like, be positive. Like, I remember I would go for my lessons. He's a very big producer now, but like when I would go for my production lessons with him, if I've not done my homework, I would be like very nervous or like anxious to go for the class, right? But his energy was so positive and calming. I would go into the class and he would be like, राजा बेटा होमवर्क किया? नहीं किया? कोई नहीं राजा बेटा, तुम तो महाराजा हो, कोई नहीं. You do your homework right now in class. I have another free hour. I'll go make Maggie for you. So when I would leave the lessons, I would be like really confident and calm, and like I would believe that I can do this. And like the biggest thing he was like, bro, stay positive and like have the most positive energy, and that's gonna take you further. So looking at his career trajectory right now, I feel like he was right.
What is the importance of a good teacher in your life, I would say?
I feel like there's YouTube, there's a lot of resources where you can learn things from trial and error. And we should consider ourselves lucky that we have that, but having a mentor speeds up your process like anything. For example, if I'm learning singing on YouTube, I would watch the generic videos. But when I go to a vocal coach, the first thing they'll do is like, okay, they'll test my range. They'll ask me to sing something. They'll pinpoint the problem areas. That, okay, he's pushing more on like his chest voice, or like he's not controlling certain muscle groups the right way or whatever. So a mentor can really help you speed up that process. And I also believe if your mentor has a 30-year experience and you have a 5-year experience, when you go to that mentor, and if they are selflessly teaching you everything they know, then you will have at least 35 years of experience in your belt, under your belt. So having a mentor can really speed up the process. So even if you have to pay for it, I have spent, I would say I had a very, like the other studio we had was like pretty fancy for India in terms of equipments and stuff, like the microphones and the.
You'd like to name?
Not like, if big shots are listening to this, don't judge me, but like I had a Neumann TLM 102, which is a German mic. I got it for like around $1,500. Now it's like, during the lockdown, it was sitting at like around $3,000. So it has only went up in price. It has also gone down after the lockdown, but I was using that microphone. I was using an Apogee Duet, which is around $1,000 again. And I got this when I was just 17, just starting music, right? But there's fancier equipment. You can go into like six figures if you're trying to get a lot of gear. But also understanding like what microphone works for your voice. So I know that I sing in the tenor range, which is like the higher frequencies, a little bit more bright. I use a lot of falsettos. So I know that my personal music is like very, in terms of frequency, very centered on the upper mids or highs in terms of frequency response, especially for my vocal placement. So instead of buying a Neumann TLM 103, which is like the successor of TLM 102, I got the 102 because the frequency response, if you look at it, has a dip. It has a dip on the high frequencies above like 18K or something, 18 kilohertz. So that dip really helps making the sound bright enough but not harsh. Whereas 103 is a very, it has a lot of boost on the high frequencies. So
let's not go into technicals.
Okay, yeah.
Neither I'll understand, neither anyone will understand.
Yeah, so yeah. I like to get nerdy on these things, but like I need to understand like it's not everyone is a sound engineer. But yeah, so like it is like a lot of like trial and error, but I don't know what I was talking. I lost the train of thought.
I would seriously like you to compare working in India as a sound engineer and working in Canada, the North American culture and the Indian culture.
So the biggest thing that you would notice right away, that in India people don't want to pay you. The bigger the artist, the less they will want to pay you. Because they're like, if not you, someone else will work for me for free just for the exposure. In North America, the smallest or the biggest, There's a sense of respect. There's a sense of uh, respect in a way like, okay, this sound engineer might not have like Grammys or accolades like that, but his skill is nice, so we should pay him. So even smaller artists I work with are like, they are on budgets, but we make it work. People want to pay you because in North America, especially Toronto, it's like a very expensive market to be in.
Of course.
Housing is crazy. So everyone is willing to pay you for the things you're doing. So that is one difference. The other difference I feel is that it comes again down to respect, right? People will release one song or two songs, and they might not be talented, but like if they have the money, sometimes I've seen like this is very common in India that the ego is very easily satisfied in India for artists. In Canada, people who have done massive things in their career are still very grounded, still very humble. They are hungry. They are open to work with new talent. They're like, if I met like a producer last week. I was at the Canadian Music Week. I was the day host there, and I met a few really recognized producers there. And this one guy I met, like he really like had a very positive energy. Junior T, he's like a very big producer. Like not in like the top leagues where he has Grammys and stuff or Junos, but he's on his way there, right? And I met him. He literally came in, gave me a dab, and like he's like, bro, here's my phone. Put your number, save it. I'm gonna drop you a text. Let's link up in the studio. Let's cook. Compared to someone else, I would not take names. I met someone here recently. Shitty music, Bollywood tag on their name, and then wearing shades indoors and like talking to me while looking away. And I'm like, okay, I understand that as an artist, sometimes you need to keep that public image. But in the long run, being humble and being open to opportunities is the right way to go. It takes you further. Because like in India, there's a lot of like politics and stuff that gets involved with work. Like here, people only care about focusing on getting the best product possible. In India, I've seen bigger artists tell their engineers to make, if they're collaborating with someone, to make his vocals sound a little worse than mine. And I'm like, what?
Seriously?
I've seen that happen. Like, okay, we're working on a song together. I'm the bigger artist. Why is he sounding better than me? Fuck up his mix.
This is crazy.
That's crazy, right? Because you're creating a song. Like, focus on creating the best possible product instead of focusing on the problem in India. I'll tell you the difference, the biggest difference in India. If you're here and you're working with someone who's here, you would not want them to step here. You would not want them to go above you. My idea always of working is like, if I'm here and if I have a friend or someone I believe in, if I can put them here, I would do this because this guy is going to help me climb the ladder further. Because you make a community, you help each other grow. In North America, even the bigger artists will put people on the map.
The public image of people in Bollywood,
yeah,
they show in public that they are trying their best to
uplift
some small artists.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people have that intention. A lot of people do that. But you need to understand that a lot of people are in position of power not because of their skills, but because of either their money or influence or connections.
Nepotism?
Not even nepotism. I can't say nepotism. Everyone who is in position of power have had their shares of struggle. Mm-hmm. I feel no one who has been successful, no matter what people think of them, they have talent in some area of life. Like if it's not music, they have people skills. So they have like marketing or something or money. So like anyone who's in position of power has put in their work and have seen their struggles. But it's also like sometimes people end up in positions of power with less skills than people who work for them. So they would not. I've seen this happen a lot. They don't want you to be bigger than them, because then why would you work for them for less money if you're bigger than them? And that happens here as well. But here it gets worse after the blow is already done. Like Like for example, the Drake wanted to sign The Weeknd. He gave him his first break. He took him out on the OVO EXO tour. But then Weeknd wanted to sign to Republic instead of signing to OVO, which is a label under a label under a label. So it's a big hierarchy in the umbrella. So that is there. They have their beef because of that. But here it's still comparatively less. In Bollywood, no one wants you to succeed. Not at the expense of you being more successful than them.
How was it working in Bollywood? Let's go deep into that.
I would not take any names, but I would say wasn't pleasant. Long hours. Good pay though, if you're smart with your money, if you take your stand.
One way you're saying that they don't pay you.
Yeah.
Try not to pay you.
Yeah.
Other way they are saying you're paid very well.
It depends. For example, if a song from a big Bollywood movie is getting a budget approved for 1 CR, coming down the hierarchy, the person who's getting the actual credits, a lot of big producers, big name producers do their stuff themselves. They're very talented. But there are a lot of people who have a team of 20 producers and 20 engineers working under them. And these producers also have certain reputation and they have other people working under them. And then you realize that the song credits goes to the person at the top, and then by the time you get down to the people who actually worked on those songs, they have either don't have credits if they signed a ghost producer contract or an NDA or whatever. They can't talk about it.
Is it very common?
I feel like, okay, even in my own process when I'm working on songs, I would produce the first draft. I would do the songwriting. I'll record my vocals and then I'll get my teammates involved. They'll do additional production. They'll polish the song and then I'll mix them. I like to mix my own stuff. Consider myself a very good sound engineer. But at the same time, I have other people involved in my process. The thing about when you become too big, I think it's an ego problem to give your credits to someone else, that you want to take control of every credit on the song. Like even if you did something, take that credit. Why do you have 20 people working under you and they are not getting any credits and you're getting all the credit?
But that's what you signed for.
Yeah, I mean, like
if you're
a ghost producer, you sign up for that. But it still gets pretty toxic. Because even if you don't want to be a ghost producer or engineer, if you want the credits, they use greed as a way to trick you into, no, let me take this song from you and release it as my song, and I'll get all the credits and I'll give you a show or I'll give you opportunity, let me sign you under me and like you work under me, I'll pay you well, but I'll also help you build your career on the side, I'll invest in you. But these are empty promises, mostly. I mean, it's part of the hustle. If you just care about money and you're just a producer and engineer, a lot of people do that, but I'm also an artist.
But people talk about this dark side of Bollywood. People talk about
I've not been that up there in Bollywood. I was working under someone who was working under someone, and I was doing the heavy lifting.
Shadows of this darkness are always there, even if you work under.
I feel like it's a lot of controversy, and like just.
It's very spiced up, I would say.
I would say Indians like to spice up their food and the gossips, but yeah, it can be toxic. But it also depends on your mentor. They are like amazing people in the industry who help uplift talent. Like I've worked with Rahman sir, very humble,
Okay, let me go a bit deeper into that.
Yeah.
How did it happen? When did it happen?
Let me say this, like in life, when you're at the lowest point, you need to reach the lowest point to reach the upper point. Like to get like a leap of faith and like something good would happen. So for me, I was in Mumbai, I was in a music school. Bombay, for me, was a bigger struggle than Toronto in terms of housing.
Seriously?
Yeah. Toronto housing market is messed up. It's like very expensive, but Mumbai is a different ball game altogether. You can't get a good place without a realtor or a broker.
Oh.
They have a good grip, and like in Canada, I still make my own money, It's easy there's dignity of labor, so you can hustle your way up and make money and work hard to pay for your bills. I coming from a privileged family in India, work at McDonald's as a cashier in India. My ego would not allow that.
Yeah, of course.
So I would not hustle the same way. So for me, paying equivalent to $1,000 or like $500 in Bombay is harder than paying like $1,000 in Canada,
In
because
Canada.
here I can make the money. But it's like a nice city. I don't like the food. The city is nice. I love the people there. I have like friends I call family
Oh,
there.
so we were talking about signing Rahman sir.
Oh, so
You told us that
yeah,
you need
yeah,
to go to the bottom.
to come back up, right?
Yeah.
So it was like I was struggling with my housing condition, my accommodation in Mumbai. My flatmates ran away without paying rent. They did me dirty. And then my landlord was trying to evict me, and she was connected to politics. So she was like an influential woman. And because of that, I was falling behind in like school. And if you're in a music school, you need to like the entire band. If you're the vocalist, the entire band depends on you for their final grade. You need to be at rehearsals and stuff. So I was struggling, and then running out of money. So I called my sister. I was gonna call my sister that it's like just book a flight. I want to come to Delhi, take a break. And then I just went out to calm myself down, and then I get a call from an unknown number. They're like, "Oh, we're from Nexa Music. We had like a person drop out of the finales, and we want you to sign your song for Nexa. So we'll be doing a photo shoot for Rolling Stone. We'll be on the cover with Rahman sir. We'll release your song and all of that." So I'm like, okay. And it was like a very positive thing for me, because when I was just about to lose faith, I got a sign from the universe that there are better things on the way. So keep hustling. So then I signed my song to Nexa. It was a mixed experience, because the lockdown happened. We were gonna do a tour with Rolling Stone and Hard Rock Cafe. So I did my first show in Mumbai. I was supposed to do a few more. Maybe on the last one, Rahman sir was gonna be there. We were gonna open for him. It would have been legendary for me, but the lockdown happened after the first show. But I feel like everything happens for a reason, and the reason I don't have regrets is because every step taken has taken me here, and I'm fucking proud of who I am, right now. So I might not be where I wanna be, but like they say, the journey is more important in the end. So.
But how was it?
Meeting him, working with
Rahman sir.
I have met him twice, very, very briefly for the photo shoots. There's a funny story. He would obviously not remember this, but when we were doing the Rolling Stone cover shoot for December 2019, I was on the cover 2019. So because of me, not me, it was fault on the production's end, that they were like, Rahman sir's flight is delayed. So we'll start your music video shoot. Because like they signed 24 acts and they are doing a very generic video for everyone, like on a similar setup. It's not like dedicated music videos unless you're in the top 1 or 2. So they're like, okay, we'll start your shoot, and because Rahman sir's flight is delayed, so we can finish your shoot in like an hour or 2 by the time he gets here. And this is in Mud Island, Mumbai. And if you've been there, you know that it's a very remote place where like there are like big places for production, and like it's remote. So the shoot for the Rolling Stone magazine was in a different studio, and this shoot was happening somewhere else, and they're a little far. So they started my shoot for the music video here, and the rest of the team and the rest of the artists left for the Rolling Stone shoot. By the time they started my shoot, we are the first take in, they're calling them that Rahman sir is here for the photo shoot and he's waiting. So because of me, and then literally the cinematographer took me in his own car to this different studio. He's like, let me drive you. Like, how can they be so irresponsible and not manage this well? So let me drive you. He went with me. The entire thing is set up. There's lights, there's a photographer, Rahman sir is on the stage. And they, like, it's a big picture, it's a group picture. It was like 24 acts. And a lot of these acts were bands. So like if it's like one act, but like 5 people in a band, so it looks like a big group. And they're all standing in there, like, they put like a setup to like make everyone be in the frame, like they're standing on top of like boxes and stuff. And Rahman sir is standing in the middle. and everyone's waiting for me. And I'm like, oops. It's not my fault though. It's on production and the media coordinators. They are supposed to take me there.
Mhm.
But yeah, that happened. So I met him like that once, and also they are shooting bites and interview clips for the thing. So they kicked everyone out of the studio because they were doing a separate photo shoot for Rahman for the magazine, and I'm the only person in the studio in the other corner. So I saw him look at me a few times like, who is this guy? Who is this kid? Why is he getting so much attention?
Mhm.
Well, I think he meets like 100 artists every day, so he'll probably not remember me. Although my song has credits with him, like he has like mentorship credits on one of my songs.
Which one?
It's called Young and Reckless. But yeah, my experience with labels is mixed feelings again. So because of the lockdown, my contract was not fulfilled from either ends because I was supposed to give them a tour, which was organized by them.
Again, so many people came on the podcast,
Yeah.
and they usually talk about some famous people are gained knowledge. When you are near them, you feel
Yeah.
a different energy. You feel a different. They're
I
very
d-
humble. You
I
feel.
feel like A.R. Rahman sir is a very funny, very humble guy. I have not spent excessive time with him, so I can't comment on that. I was only there for that and the launch party.
Mhm.
And he's very humble, he's very kind. But when you're that big, you can't give everyone your time and attention
Of course.
because you have to conserve your energy because you get tired, bro. Like, imagine he coming from a flight and just going for a photo shoot, and then people are making him run away. Okay, now you need to go here for the next shoot. And
Exactly.
he's doing so much. He's a legend. But yeah, I've met him a few times. Humbling experience. I've always stayed grounded regardless, and he's also very humble. But there are people who work under him who work under those people who work under him who would be very arrogant. Oh, I work for the person who works for A.R. Rahman. But like A.R. Rahman is more humble than you, bro. Chill. Calm your tits. And I like to I have a no bullshit approach. I can't like lie or sugarcoat things. So if someone is humble, they are humble. If someone is not, I'd probably not talk shit about them, but have a different way of dealing with them, working with them. Like recently got a manager here who's my friend. I saw this guy would go above and beyond to get things done for me, even when we just became friends. I was like, this guy is street smart. He's cultured in like the kind of music I do. He has a good taste. He's also into lifestyle and sneakers and all of those things that the kind of music I do can be revenue sources later. So I got him on board only because dealing with certain people as an artist, you can't ruin your personal relationship with them. So that's where the manager comes in for me. But this guy is not delivering the deliverables and he has not met my expectations after I've paid him. But he's a friend, so I would not be like, give me the files, I've paid you, that's way beyond the deadline. I'm just like, I'll call my manager. हाँ bro, देख यार क्या हो रहा है? He'll be the one who's gonna be anal. He's gonna be like, oh, you have a deliverable. You see this contract we signed here, you know. So with some people, I would just go in the studio work with, like trust and mutual understanding on what we are doing. With certain people, you need to have a manager involved to make things go smoothly. Like I had a very bad experience a few weeks ago with a show I was doing. But I would say it was like more like a logistical nightmare than anyone. Like everyone had good intentions, so I'm really grateful for that opportunity as well.
What was the time in life we usually discuss, right? That a time comes you are at bottom of your potential. You feel like life has just came down to just the bottom.
So for me, it's very recent.
Uh-huh.
So one of the reasons why I moved to Canada is because I do music, English music. I do R&B, I do darker R&B, I do alternative R&B, trap soul, a lot of people listen to these genres in India, but they don't understand. Like they would listen to the biggest song in the genre, but they would not be cult followers of these genres. But in North America, like even the Toronto sound is like very trap soul. Like Toronto has a sound to it. The city has a sound. All of the artists that come from the city follow that sound, and it's very similar to the sound of music I do. So for me, the biggest downfall was like my biggest fear was starting from scratch in a new country where like I had a ton of connections, a ton of resources and privilege and time. So I moved here. My biggest fear was starting from scratch. Luckily for me, I met someone in school. His name is Mark. He goes by Krim. Initially, he was like, oh, we're gonna test you out, see if you're skilled. And he heard one of my assignments. He's like, bro, why don't you come work for us as a sound engineer? Like our engineer just had a baby, so he wants to take time away for his family. Why don't you work for us? I was like, bro, I'm not working early, $16, $17 an hour. I can work freelance. If you give me a project, $600, $700, we can discuss every project. So I'm really thankful for him. He put me in a lot of big rooms, big studios that I couldn't have imagined being in without him. I've been in rooms with A&Rs from Sony, Universal, OVO, Drake's label. And yeah, so he was putting me on the map. He gave me a lot of clients also. He is very helpful. And then again, you see that this guy was helping everyone out. His entire intention was like, making good music, helping his friends out, helping people with potential out. And that worked in his favor. He just signed to OVO as a sound engineer for Division. Division is an act signed to Drake's label.
Oh,
it's a R&B duo. So he's mainly the engineer for him, but he's also working with a lot of artists. He worked on The Party Next Door, which is OVO's biggest signed act. So he worked on the last album for them.
That's great.
So
it pays you back.
It pays you back. Being giving and being positive, it gives you back. So for me, that was the biggest fear. But the darker thing happened when, during last summer, I used to work on campus in food and bev, in every international student did. That was my first job. When I got here on the 14th day, I got a job at Tim's. So during the summer, my campus closes the campus. Like for a few courses are there, but like if there are like 1,000 people on campus, it's like 200 people on campus. So they close the cafeteria. So I got laid off for the summer. I got a job in retail at Gap as a sales associate. For certain reasons, the manager didn't like me, I think, too much. So he only gave me like 1 shift or 2 shifts a week. So 10 hours a week is not enough money.
Yeah.
So last summer, I was like, bro, I stayed here. My family was like, come to India, like, take a break, it's summer, you don't have school. I was like, no, I want to make my money, make my bread, pay my tuition. But then rather I'm like not even able to pay for rent. I'm asking money from my sister and my family. So I felt like maybe I should go back. But then again, by September, when September came around, the guy who's my manager now, he was like, I met him, he's like, oh, you don't have a job? Let me sort you. He calls me 3 days later, come here right now for an interview, bring your resume, I got you hired. Then I was like, I need to move. He's like, okay. He's like sending me houses, bro. Like I spoke to the realtor, I spoke to the owner, sorted just. So I was like, this guy needs to be a manager, bro. He's doing things for me when I didn't even ask him. I met him like 3 days ago. But anyway, so summer was hard, very hard, last summer. I feel like in Canada you need money.
Of course.
In Toronto especially, your rent is more than your living expenses in any other country. So that was hard, but I'm glad I didn't leave. Because I knew that,
people have told this thing many times in the podcast as well, that when you come with the mentality that I will not leave, doesn't matter what.
Yeah.
Success comes to you.
No, it will. Because like, it's not, nobody said it's going to be easy moving to a new country and starting your career from scratch. Course. Especially in this climate right now. Climate as in like the economic climate. You gotta realize that you're starting from scratch and there are going to be like days when you have to struggle. But look at the bigger picture. Especially for me. If it wasn't for music and the kind of music I do, I might have left. But For me right now, I see things moving slowly but surely, and patience is key. I've been doing this for way too long to get impatient. I've been doing this for over a decade now. So started when I was in high school, so can't give up right now.
So let's move on to the stories we were sharing. You told me about some instances in lockdown.
Yeah,
Would you like to share on camera?
sure. So for me, I was in a music school, and I really liked my life in Mumbai. I don't like the food. Sorry, Mumbai people. I don't like the food, but it's a very beautiful city. I had like very good friends. I had a girlfriend. Uh, when the lockdown happened, I was in Delhi. I was just traveling for a week, but I got locked down in Delhi. So it did affect my mental health to a certain point because I was also going through a breakup. But for a while, for a few weeks or 3 4 weeks, it affected me negatively. But then I feel like for artists to create art, any kind of artist, it's very important to have emotional experiences to write about.
Does that emotional experience surely has to be pain? Because for most of
I
the
mean,
artists,
for me,
it usually
like,
goes with pain.
yeah, for me, I would say it's very easy, not easy. Any kind of music, when it's commercial, is hard to make it very polished and refined. But for me, I like the only thing which is common amongst all of my songs from when I started is a sense of melancholy. Like my music, regardless of the genre, would always have a darker undertone. Because I feel like unless it does, it's not deep enough.
But for an artist,
Yeah.
is it so important that in his life or her life something should happen that has to be emotionally a dumping phase of their life?
It doesn't have to be like very extreme because if it is, then you need therapy rather than writing songs. But a certain amount of emotional experiences are important because they inspire art in a way where like you look at things more intensely and with more depth. And I feel like as artists, it's our responsibility to uh, give people something they can relate to because everyone has their struggles. But on social media, people will just show the best life they're living. But everyone has emotions and everyone has experiences. So when artists create art that people can relate to, it works.
A best moment of your life?
Best moment of my life. Pretty hard to think, bro. I am very grateful for everything. So everything is always good for me. अभी नहीं आई है best moment to sell out a arena one day, maybe, and I know we will. Let's manifest that.
Of
And
course.
so I
You
enjoy.
are a great preacher for law of manifestation and
Yeah,
law of attraction.
I feel like I've been following it less, but more so recently. Like whenever you believe in it, it starts working. Whenever you forget about it, it's just like your life goes to shit for me. It's like I feel like law of attraction uh, does not work with the manifestation techniques you see. It works more when you deeply apart and you want something very deeply and you feel that itch कि भाई ये हो जाए यार एक बार लाइफ में. वो चीज़ हो जाती है चाहे 5 6 साल लग जाए बट वो चीज़ होती है. I'll give you one example. And I was like 12 13 when Justin Bieber was blowing up initially. He did a song with Sean Kingston, Eeny Meeny. So I was just a kid, never had plans of, getting into music like professionally and doing it as my day job. But I just tweeted to Sean Kingston that, I love your music. Maybe one day I want to make songs like you and stuff. And he replied to my tweet on Twitter saying that, see you on the other side or something like that. It was like probably like 20 years ago. So I don't even remember. But eventually, when I was working for Bollywood for the person I was working for, he offered, there's always bait. So he was like, I've just signed like a deal with Sean Kingston because Sean Kingston, like, he's a legend, but like he lost his relevance in pop culture like over the years. He's not as big as other people he started with are. Like Justin Bieber is still like, he can still sell out an arena. I don't think Sean Kingston alone can sell out an arena, but he was really big when Justin Bieber started. So the guy I was working for Bollywood, no names taken, he signed a contract. He showed us the contract with Sean Kingston. Let's not involve money, how much money was involved in that, but big money. And he,
How big we are talking about?
uh, let's say in the double digits when it comes to lakhs. So like around, I'll give you a range from 15 to 35 lakhs, somewhere in between that. So anyway, so he signed a contract with Sean Kingston's management that he'll do one song with him. He'll produce and engineer it.
Mhm.
So me being a 12, 13-year-old kid tweeting to Sean Kingston that, oh, one day I would love to work with you, to getting the opportunity to work with him. Although that didn't go through because I left working for Bollywood before that project could be done. But it was like a full circle moment in a way where like things manifested. I also worked on a song for Jasmine Sanders. Initially, as a kid, I didn't know who she was. I saw a rapper I used to know who I thought was not so good work with her, and post like, oh, I worked with her. I was like, why are people with zero skills getting a chance to work with her and not me? And then just a few years later, I was working for the same person this person was working for, and I worked on one of her songs.
Which song did you work on?
It was called Veera. Initially, the project was named Kurma. It was like Veera. It released on T Series. You can check the credits. I did a few things. Like I got, like, yeah, the credits I got are technically what I did, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, so I think law of attraction works. So we'll sell out our arena one day. So I think that would be my happiest moment.
So which were the songs where you got credits till now?
I can't talk about
Like,
that. No.
I mean,
With
which
all
you
due
got
respect,
credits.
because with all due respect, like in a way, like
I'm talking about the songs where you got.
I got credits for Jasmine Sanders,
Veera.
Veera, and I think that's pretty much it. But I was working for Bollywood for over a year, so you get the swing, get the vibe. But I have no regrets about it because, like, I feel like, as I said, every step taken has taken me here, and I'm proud of who I am, where I am in my journey. So it was like a stepping stone, a learning lesson. It taught me really how to, like, when I meet people in the industry, I can tell someone who's gonna exploit me, and I can tell someone who's just wanna work with me for working with me. So I've become better at reading people about their intentions. So that was there, and like, yeah, like, got paid. So I signed up for it. I wanted to be a ghost producer. But long term, I didn't see myself being the guy in the background working on someone else's songs without getting any credits just for money. Money has never been the motivator for me. It was just about money. The reason I left India was because even the biggest names in the industry that I would hang out with would tell me that now it's time that you start making Hindi music. And I'm like, I can't, because I don't write Hindi music and I don't want a songwriter. I want the music I release to be my story, my journey, my life. Instead of a songwriter writing a commercial song about cars, women, or like fake chains that I don't actually own. I was like, okay, not my thing. So I left, lost a few things financially, burned a few bridges, but in the long run, the people who matter would come back to you, find their way back to you.
Of course. You told us that kind of negative emotion. I would say emotions are very important for any artist to dwell into that area where they can feel emotions and they can write something or perform something, or even for themselves they can do something.
I would say emotions are essential because, like, even when I wasn't aware of my emotions, whenever I would do songwriting, the best of the songs, I feel like I don't write them myself. They just flow in. I'm just like a vessel where the consciousness is just flowing through me. Because I would write lyrics and I would be like, did I really write that? So best songs will happen in like 5 minutes, like the most catchy songs and stuff. But sometimes you write with intention. There you need to have a good understanding of how you're feeling emotionally. Because if you don't understand something, how would you like document it, right? You can't write a book. You have written a book. You were telling me. If you had no knowledge on that topic, how would you write that book? I mean, Chat GPT, of course, but like,
ChatGPTs
we didn't
are-
have that back then,
But
and like,
chat GPTs are good, but I don't think
it's not good for creative things yet.
they're not good for creative things.
Can bring inspiration, but I don't see myself writing a song.
It
with
can
that.
give you knowledge, but not creativity.
Yeah, and I feel like it also is like what you consume.
Mhm.
Because if you're consuming a certain type of music a lot, your brain will, when you're writing, subconsciously create
Go
similar
into the-
sound.
yeah. Okay.
So they have like in music school, they'll teach you garbage in, garbage out. So good content in, good content out. So you need to consume a lot of content. I feel like a lot of Netflix shows that would make you feel a certain emotion uh, are very nice for
Mhm.
inspiration. If you don't want to go through trauma yourself, just consume a lot of content, use that as inspiration. Because you need to realize that Netflix and a lot of these Hollywood studios, their script writing, their screenplay is so well written. There's so much inspiration in there to draw. In fact, my next EP, which we'll talk about maybe,
Yeah.
the name of the EP and a few songs on there are inspired by a show.
So again, let's go a bit into it. When are we seeing something next coming up?
Uh, it's been a lifelong struggle to stay consistent as an artist when you lack resources like money. Because like when I say money, it's not like I lack money, but you need to realize that marketing a song on a bigger scale, beyond organic content, you need a certain push to
Of
push it
course.
off where like it starts propelling into, it gains momentum.
Mhm.
So I released the first single from my EP called Masquerade of Lies in March, 21st of March. I wanted to keep the consistency and release a song every month from the EP in a waterfall. It's a release strategy called waterfall where you release one song and then the second song comes and they're already compiled into the EP and the third song comes and then you drop the rest of the 4 or 5 songs together and it becomes a EP. So you drop one of 2 singles from the EP and then you drop the EP. So I was planning that. I shot 3 music videos, 2 here, 1 in India. I traveled to India in January and December because I was trying to work on my merch and the EP. But time constraints and like logistically a few things delayed the EP a little bit because I'm also a perfectionist. So unless a song is done, like a song might be done for everyone else like 3 months ago, but for me, unless like a certain frequency is bothering me in the mix, I would not release
You
it.
want to release it till that
Yeah,
time.
so I'm working on that, like being less of a perfectionist and like focusing on consistency, but I have certain expectations with myself in terms of my content and the quality of that content. I can't just release that because when you're just starting out and a lot of other artists, you're talking
Of
about
course.
differences in India and people here. Even here, I've noticed that, especially for hip hop, like artists are very easily satisfied.
Mhm.
Even in India, artists are very easily satisfied.
Not push themselves.
They push themselves in a way like in terms of process. If I quickly go into it, like a lot of hip hop songs here are mixed on a 2 track, which is like they just take the instrumental beat, it's already mixed, and they mix their vocals and release the song. Whereas like I, before moving here, used to work with Taylor Production, where like every single element on the song, like whether it's the pads, the synths, the keys, the drums, every single element is handpicked, mixed layer by layer. Vocal is mixed in a way where like everything fits like a 3D puzzle together, and then you put it out to the universe, and that takes a lot of work.
Yeah, of course.
But if you're taking a YouTube beat, just recording your vocals and mixing and releasing it, it's good for consistent. It works for hip hop. It does not work for every genre.
Okay, let's move further.
Mm-hmm.
Let's play a small game.
Sure.
So I'll.
It's gonna be fun.
What?
I feel like okay. Anyway, let's play this game.
Yeah. So we'll go towards the end of the podcast
Yeah.
for this and quick word game.
Rapid fire.
Yeah, rapid fire. So I'll just
Might regret something.
so I'll just tell something and
Yeah.
you just say whatever you feel about that.
Okay, sure.
But it has to be quick.
Quick. Okay.
Okay. So let's start.
Yeah.
Love.
Love is me.
Study.
And study. People.
Emotions.
Embrace them.
Lockdown.
Blessing.
Breakup.
Blessing.
Family.
Blessing.
Music.
Blessing and a curse.
Travel.
Fun.
India.
Mixed feelings.
Money.
I'll have a lot of it.
Fun.
I should do that more.
Mountains.
Mountains. Fun, I would say.
Home.
Home. Friends and
Eyes.
family. Eyes. Like eyes.
Eyes.
Eyes. Blue.
Delhi.
Chole Bhature.
Ocean.
Ocean. I don't know. I don't surf or anything. So, ocean. Eyes. Billie Eilish. I don't know. Shout out
Food.
Billie Eilish. Food. Momos. Chole Bhature. भाई दिल्ली के लौंडे हैं. I can give you 10 words for food.
Lovely. Okay, so the thing is with rapid fire,
Yeah.
viewers understand something that you might not tell in simple way.
Yeah.
Viewers are smart. Viewers are smart.
Yeah. So what did you understand?
Viewers will tell you in the comment
We'll
section.
find out. Guess we'll find out.
Okay, so moving towards the end of the podcast,
Yeah.
anyone who is shifting a country,
Mm-hmm.
moving to a new place, let's say not even the country, they are moving to a new place,
Mm-hmm.
what's your suggestion? What's a piece of advice you'd like to give? It can be a new country, it can be a new life journey, it can be a new relationship, it can be something change in life.
Mm-hmm.
What's one piece of advice for anyone out there?
When you go into things with zero expectations, you can come back satisfied. But if you move to a country or do something with a lot of expectations, like I know a lot of people move to Canada having very high expectations of what their life is going to be here. So manage your expectations, do your research. Don't dive into things because it's the public norm or it's the status quo. And
Let's not talk about just traveling. I would say it in all sections.
yeah, I would say just like when you don't have expectations, you are more satisfied, but also for yourself, in terms of like quality of your life or like where you see yourself, you should have certain expectations that if my life goes below this point, I'll make a change, So have no expectations, but also have certain expectations for yourself and enjoy the process. And get out of your comfort zone. Because if I was still in India, I would still be like, I had a studio, would still be releasing less music. Like when I was in India, I would just like, if I'm working on a song, nothing is coming out. Like, okay, let's go hang out with my friends today, You get complacent. With comfort, you get complacent. Seek discomfort. There's a channel called Yes Theory on YouTube. Their tagline is seek discomfort. So do that, if you want to grow in life.
Thank you very much for being our guest. Thanks for coming to the Mug Talks. It has been a lovely podcast.
Thank you, Nitin.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Fun.
Thank you. It was fun.